Next we're going to talk a little bit about the foreclosure process. Why we're talking about this in a short sale scenario? Because typically a bank will not even discuss a short sale with you unless you are 90 days overdue. Now there is one but to that. That is a HAMP modification. A HAMP modification, you can request a HAMP modification if you are reasonably foreseeably in the future you're going to be in default. But most of the time, though, banks don't want to talk to you about doing a short sale until you're behind on your payments, which is understandable, I suppose. So at any rate, foreclosures are handled rather by the courts in Florida. So when you're about 90 days past due, a foreclosure suit will be begun against you. There'll be what's referred to as a lis pendens, or notice of pending litigation filed in the public record. It's kind of the public notice to any other lien holders that a foreclosure suit has been begun against your property. How can a foreclosure action be begun? Well, 99% of the time it's because a borrower has failed to repay the debt. They can initiate a foreclosure suit if you fail to pay the taxes or fail to keep the property insured or maintain or whatever, but 99% of the time it's for failure to repay the debt. When a foreclosure suit is filed, you'll be served with the notice of the foreclosure suit and asked to respond to the allegations. Now, the best advice I can give you, if you take one thing away from this, is do not be passive in this. When you get a filing from the court and they're asking for a response, or they're notifying you that there is a hearing scheduled, or any type of meeting scheduled, go to it. If they're requiring you to make service or to make a response to an allegation, make a response to the allegation. Hire an attorney. If you can't hire an attorney, try to do one of the free workshops, or try to find an attorney who will handle your case, for free. But always respond to everything. If you don't respond, then they just roll right over you. That being said, there are currently, and I am making this video in September, but it was reported in the Daily Business Review, that there are currently about 44,000 pending foreclosure filings in Palm Beach County. The courts are getting much better at processing the pending foreclosures, although there's been talk lately about many of these foreclosure specializing lawyers not playing by the rules, and some investigations into those. But generally speaking, it will take about a year for a foreclosure action to be finalized. This is good news. This is good news because what that means is you have time to pursue other options. Whether it be a short sale, a deed in lieu of foreclosure, or some sort of a workout or a modification to your loan, you have some time. Not a lot of time. You don't want to put this off, but you have some time. The foreclosure process typically will end in a summary judgment. The summary judgment says basically that, okay, we fine for the plaintiff, the bank, and that you owe them principal, interest, any taxes that you hadn't paid, any court filing fees, acceleration charges, all kinds of things. They'll give basically a number. Let's say on our hypothetical $100,000 loan from Bank of America, that you ended up owing them $110,000 or $115,000. And what it does is it authorizes the clerk of courts in this process. The clerk will be authorized to notice, to publicize or make a public notice of the foreclosure auction, and hold an auction. And so you don't want to get to that point. If you get to that point, you've done something very wrong, because a finalized foreclosure action against you is just not a good thing. But just a couple things to make note of in this is that when the foreclosure ends, 99% of the time right now, the bank is the high bidder at the foreclosure auction, so they will then take title to your property. Up until that point in time, remember, you own it. After the foreclosure auction, when a certificate of sale is issued to the high bidder, again, typically your first lien holder, they own the property. Keep in mind, though, that that foreclosure auction, that does not eliminate the debt. What that does is it forfeits one piece of collateral towards satisfying that debt. And the lenders in Florida are free to pursue a deficiency judgment against you. The difference between the value of that property on the day of the auction and the amount of the summary judgment against you. So, you know, if they had a summary judgment for $110,000 and your property is valued on the day of the auction at let's say $80,000, well, then they can pursue a deficiency judgment against you for $30,000. Also keep in mind that any junior lien holders can pursue an action against you and obtain a judgment of their own. So any unpaid HOA fees, even though the HOA or the condo may be made partially whole by the first lien holder, any difference between what they receive and what they're owed, they can pursue a deficiency judgment again, not pursue a deficiency judgment, pursue a judgment against you. And keep in mind that the secondary judgments or the primary judgment, they're good for 20 years in Florida. That's a long time to be looking over your shoulder for someone who you owe money to. So one more thing on this that I'm just going to talk about is what is a deed in lieu of foreclosure. A deed in lieu of foreclosure, many people refer to this as I'm going to mail my keys into the bank. What you have to keep in mind in this, though, is that the bank has to accept your keys. And why would they not accept your keys? Because when they get title to your property via a certificate of sale from the clerk of court's office, it clears up the title. What it can do is that many of the junior liens are removed from the property. So it allows them the ability to convey clear title to a third party. Now the bank's not going to hold your property. Once they own it, it goes into their RIO program. They send in contractors, they clean it up, they put it on the market, and they try to sell it. They want their capital back. So in a deed in lieu of foreclosure, what you are doing is saying to the bank, hey, Mr. Bank, I would like to just forego the foreclosure process and give you a clear deed to my property. I'll just deed it over to you. You don't have to go through the foreclosure process. Saves you a lot of time and effort, and it allows me to just finalize this and get on with my life. A deed in lieu is really very damaging to your credit. Really just as damaging as a finalized foreclosure auction, as far as I can see right now. Opinions will vary on that, I'm sure. But a deed in lieu is not something you want to take lightly. And quite often you have secondary liens on the property, and those secondary liens need to be removed before you can convey clear title to someone else. So that's it on foreclosure. There's a lot more details in there, but the long and the short of it, though, is you don't want to get to that finalized foreclosure process where the courts are selling your property to satisfy the debt.